What's up, viewers? I'm coming at you from my office here at home today, and I'm going to show you guys some of the things I've been working on lately, and then we'll get to talk about some of the exciting projects going on here at Dimensionscape. Now, the first thing I want to show you guys in this video is a new product called Realm Patcher. Realm Patcher is the first in a line of tools being developed in-house that allow your average person to develop video games on any modern device without any background in programming or ever having to touch a piece of code. We'll get into the Realms Toolset a little more in depth later on in this video, but for now I want to focus on Realm Patcher. The purpose of Realm Patcher is to create a standalone application that can remotely update changes to your software game files. Realm Patcher can be used with any application, software, video game distribution, so long as you have a location to store and serve files over the internet, like a web server or a file server. Even if you don't have a game that needs updates remotely, Realm Patcher can still be used as a method of wrapping your game and packaging it as a custom installer. Now, the beauty of Realm Patcher is that you don't need to write a single piece of code in order to develop rich custom updaters, installers, or patchers that look great and function exactly the way you expect them to. All you need is a design and some common sense, and you're good to go. Now, a variety of our tools can be used outside the Realms Game Maker toolset, and so we have plans to release a light version for some of them at no cost, so that you can try our products and use them in your own indie projects as well. While Realm Patcher is still in development, Realm Patcher Lite is close to being released, and in a second, we'll get to take a look at just how easy it is to create your updater app in just a few clicks. Now, we've already got it open here. There we go. And as you'll see, we've got two windows. One of them is the debug launcher window here, as you can see. This is a preview into the app we'll be creating with the toolset, and in this case, Realm Patcher. The window will give us easy access in which to manipulate our display objects with the ease of common image editor, which we'll talk a little bit more about display objects in a few minutes. But first I want to introduce a simple properties window. Many of the features that will be in the Pro version of Realm Patcher are omitted here, as this is only the light version build. Generally, the basic properties are the same in both versions. As you can see, we have a horizontal bar here and a vertical scroll bar here. And this allows you to easily adjust the height and width of your app window. And then we have input fields that allow you to edit the numerical value of the height and width manually, like so. And we're just going to make it 550 by 400 for the purpose of this video. And these input fields allow you to adjust the numeric value in pixels for both the width and height, and later on will also allow you to edit the X and Y value, which is the position of the window when it starts. And let's see, then we get to the title here, which as default it says debug launcher, and when you actually load the app it'll say new updater here, but we can change that to whatever you want to. In our demonstration we will change it to your new updater, and there you go, it's changed. And finally we get down here to the background color. If you don't see the color that you want in the palette, there's an input window here that allow you to basically put in the hexadecimal value for whatever color you want. So now we have a nice blue background, and that's pretty much the main properties for your app window. And yeah. Next we have the display list here, which is going to enable us to add display objects to our app into our debug window over here, in which we'll later on be able to allow us to manipulate the display objects to place and resize them as we need, and basically design our patcher. A display object is your portal into the Realm Patcher display engine, whether it's an image, text, animation, or component such as a button, checkbox, loader bar, and so many others. They will all be contained in their own separate display object. Let's go ahead and add our first one, and notice that it is named Display Object 1. Now, we can go ahead and change that later on to something more convenient if we're making something like a loader bar. We might call it loader, but for the demonstration, we're just going to leave the numbering system and the naming system alone. Over here, we can go ahead and click the white rectangle that was added when we added a display object to the list here. And because it's empty right now, it is white. And you'll notice that the properties window has changed a little bit over here. And we still have the vertical and the horizontal scroll bars here, and the width and the height, which allows us to change all those things of our display object. But the great thing about this is we have a selection box like you would see in almost any image editor, which allows us to easily move our display object around and resize it as needed. As I talked about earlier, this is where we can change the name of your display object here. It doesn't do anything as far as functions go, but it's easier to organize your display objects if you name them. Finally, you'll notice we have not only we can change the background color of our display object, like we could change the color of the actual window itself, we can also change whether or not we even have a background. And so by clicking the checkbox here, we can totally remove the background, or we can conveniently just choose a color. And this makes it really easy to prototype when you're trying to design your own patcher, and you can just make a couple colored rectangles and arrange things the way you want. And then when you have your graphics and all your assets, you can basically just come in, right click, insert an image or text or component, and you're good to go. Next, we're going to go ahead and actually add an image to our display object. And let's see. We have two options here. We can copy an image from clipboard, or we can get an image from storage. And I've got a couple images prepared for this demonstration. So let's see. We'll go ahead and copy from clipboard. Now I do want to mention that you don't necessarily want to copy from clipboard in any case where there's transparent pixel data. This is paint.net. If you've never used paint.net, it's a great free image editor. It's open source, I think. I believe so, maybe not. But it is great. And the checkered background here, if you don't know, that's the background is there's no pixel data. It's completely transparent. And then we've got some alpha data here in the pixel data for the bitmap. But when we copy from clipboard, the bitmap data, the transparent data, won't be transferred through copy and paste. If you want to put an image in your display object and you have transparent pixel data, then you're going to have to save your own file for that asset, and you're going to have to import it from your storage. And we'll get into that in a little bit. But first, we're going to go ahead and click this, and we're going to copy it. And it works nice for this because the pixel data that we're copying is completely opaque, and it's completely rectangle, so there's no background. We're not going to get any white pixels for the background. It just works out great. So we're going to go ahead and copy that out of there. Oh, we'll get to that later. And go ahead and insert image from clipboard, and ta-da! Okay, we've got our first image and our first display object. Excuse me. Go ahead and stretch that, and now we have a textured background, and that looks nice. That's our first display object. We didn't need a background color. We don't need a background. let's go ahead and add our second display object. Here we go. Click on that. Now we can edit that one. And let's make an area for our, maybe our news feed or our update log. Some kind of text field. Insert image from clipboard. And really, guys, this is just how easy it is to develop apps with our tool set, whether it's a game or your server for your next project or your updater, like so. And now we've got a little area here. And I'm not really worried about, if it's exactly, if it's exactly 100 pixels away from the edge over here, 100 pixels. If you're quickly prototyping, this is fine. You can go ahead and later on you'll be able to refine the height and the width and just change it the way you want it and make sure it lines up and it's exactly 100 pixels over here, 100 pixels over here. The height's exactly, it's multiples of 2, whatever. You can go ahead and change that later on. In this video, I'm not going to be scrutinizing a whole lot. We're just going to get ahead and try and cover all the features that we've got in the light version so far. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and put in our third display object. And this one's going to be for our loader bar. Now the loader bar component, we've got a loader bar component and a button component here. And this build doesn't have them yet. They are being worked on. They're not polished features yet. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to basically create a loader without the actual component. It's basically the same thing. When you use a component, it's basically generating a bunch of display objects for you, so you don't have to go through all the processes of doing it. Makes it a little bit easier. But with just our images, we can still do it, and because some of our components have rounded edges and some transparent pixel data, we're going to go ahead and grab them from storage, and I've already got those prepared right here, and we're going to grab our background. Now, some components have multiple layers that you'll need to add assets like images to, such as your loader or your button. I mean, you don't have to, but it just makes them look nicer. For example, your button has an image for when your mouse hovers over it, or when you click down, or when it's disabled, and that sort of thing. So here we have our loader background, our loader bar, and the loader mask, which will go on top. And you'll see what all those look like in a second. And I just grabbed these graphics off of OpenGameArt. It's a great resource of free graphics, great community. Make sure you just cite the author, the people that, if you're going to use some of their work, just follow the license agreements and all that sort of stuff. All right, go ahead and put that loader background into our app previewer here. And you'll notice the white pixels in the background because we have a background. You can just get rid of that. And very good. So we'll just put this at the bottom here. And guys, this isn't the greatest design, so just bear with me. And we're going to add another display object. That's going to be the loader bar itself. We'll put that down here. Insert an image from storage and just grab that loader bar. And we'll just stretch it out here. And in a lot of cases, that would be just fine, but we're going to go ahead and add another display object. Insert image from storage, and it's going to be the loader mask. And I grabbed the wrong display object that I added that into. We're going to try that again. I'll fix that, but we'll see how just easy it is to fix mistakes like that. In just a second here. Get rid of the background. Oopsies, oopsie, 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 oopsie. Okay. So, there we've basically got our basic loader bar. basically. And we'll just go back and fix this and copy this back to clipboard. And there we go. All right, and that's how easy it is basically to make your patcher, and later on you'll be able to go ahead and just right click on your component and you'll be able to attach, you know, your files and your file location, a web address, or you know, your server address or IP address. And I think I have the assets for a button here, and then just insert image from storage. Add a quick button here. Wow, the asset wasn't edited out very well there, and get out of there, Nero. It's not a big deal. I forgot to get rid of some of the pixels in the actual image itself. That's not in the program, that's in the image itself. So we'll just go ahead and stick that up there for the heck of it. Add another display object. Put it over here, get rid of the background. Insert some text. Then we have a text area where we can add some text and call it play. And there's a couple kinks to work out, but that's generally it. And that's pretty much how easy it is to make an app. And then, of course, you know, there'll be a button over here. You'll be able to compile it and basically output your file and then distribute your app to other people. And, of course, they'll be able to update your software in your game. Moving on. When Realm Patcher reaches full maturity, we'll move to work on the next two tools in our product line, called Realmcraft and Realmsphere. Respectively, these two products make up the core of the Realm Toolset as game engine and server engine. Realmcraft will allow you to build rich 2D single-player multiplayer games with the ease seen in the demonstration of Realm Patcher, never having to write a single piece of code. Our aim is to make development more accessible to the average person on modern devices without spending years of learning complex programming languages and changing frameworks in a world of fast-moving technology. It'll allow you to be creative and never have to worry about the technical side of things. Realmsphere is a companion to Realmcraft and serves as the backbone to any multiplayer games created with Realmcraft. Easy to set up and easy to customize, Realmsphere is a full-featured socket server engine that allows you to customize and build your server for any app that supports TCP or UDP connections and is not limited to games built with Realmcraft. Future tools in the product line are still being designed to enhance the ease of game development, such as image manipulation tools, texture packer, animation generator, and more. So, as we get further along, keep a lookout for these things as I talk about them in future videos. Finally, I want to talk about some of the projects going on here at Dimensionscape. As many of you know, Realms of Gaia has been in development these last few weeks, and the game is built using the early technology of the Realms Toolset and aims to be both a full-fledged game as a demonstration of the Realm tools and a port of a beloved game known to its niche community as FSO or First Star Online. Many of you probably have never heard of FSO, but if you have, you're one of the few. It was a small line of pseudo-engines and games built with Shockwave Director in Lingo, paired with Macromedia's Multi-User Server 3, that were developed from the late 1990s to the late 2000s by a Robert Mulvaney, apologize if I don't pronounce that right, otherwise known in the community as Slim. The community was never really big, and the game accomplished and innovated a lot of unique features using multiplayer games today, but it was way before its time. There are still a few servers running today, and the community's dwindled, but it still remains a fond memory in the hearts of people who played growing up with these games. With Realms of Gaia, we're really killing a few birds with one stone here. As a port of FSO, it helps to preserve the spirit of the game beyond the demise and loss of support for the software used to create FSO, called the now defunct Shockwave Director. As a bonus, it serves to demonstrate the power and capabilities of the Realms toolset and also aid with an alien community with something new to sink their teeth in after all these years. Since we're on the topic of Realms of Gaia, I'd really like to show you guys another small thing I've been working on for it, which is a mini game that's temporarily dubbed FSO Wars. One of the things the Realm toolset introduces is real physics. Now, using the physics engine in Realmcraft, you can build a multitude of games from Angry Birds style to space shooters with real gravity and more. Now, not only does this work on the server side, but you can also allow it not only works on the client side, but you can also allow your physics to be run on the server. This prohibits people from, cheating where the physics are important in the event where you have collisions in, movement or maybe ranged attacks or, whatever you might be using the physics for. In Realms of Gaia, I'll be adding the minigame, of which you see a rough prototype on the screen now, that really highlights our physics engine capabilities, in which you'll be able to challenge others to a tactical turn-based duel of arrow flinging and cannon shooting, where you'll be able to face off for 1 versus 1 or in a team or free-for-all battles, and these big terrain destructing battle action. The minigame is still in very early designing, but this demonstration shows off the core mechanics of how the game operates on a technical level and gives you a look at how the physics work. And I just shoot off aim and shoot basically is all it is. And you've got the terrain here. It's not destructible because the pellets here only have a mass of 0.0001 kg, which is why they're just flinging all over the screen. And we'll go ahead and start a little juggling act here. I mean, it's nothing really special, but if you've seen a couple games like I don't know, there's a couple games out there like Shell Shock. I don't know. There's a couple games that utilize some type of physics to Angry Birds. That utilize physics to basically create this effect and build an interactive and actually pretty fun game off of it. As you can see, the physics still operates for the object still on the screen. It moves quite fluidly. It works great. Yeah, this took a little while to build. It doesn't really look like much, but there is a lot going on behind the scenes here. Alright. And I guess that's it for this demonstration. We'll move on a little bit here. Finally, for those of you in the FSO community, I want to talk about FSO Worlds. FSO Worlds is a planned portal for FSO games and close ports on Steam. With FSO Worlds, we hope to bring the outdated technology and those working on newer ports of the game all together in one place on Steam to help grow the community and help the leaders in the community make their FSO projects flourish. While the details of FSO Worlds is still being fleshed out, this is an exciting project I'm really looking forward to working on with the community and talking more about in future videos as we have more updates. I'm sorry, if you were waiting to hear something about Corellian Online or Stellar Dominion Online in this video, I really hate to disappoint you. I don't have any new updates on these projects right now. We're still trying to hire some help to get these games to market, so don't fret, because we still are pushing forward with these long-awaited titles. In our next video, I'll have some news regarding Stellar Dominion, but it looks like Corellian may be pushed back till Q4 of 2019. While it's good news for those waiting SDO, it seems as though our Corellian fans still have another long wait ahead of them. Sorry. Okay, everyone, that's it for the content of this video. Feel free to comment, share, subscribe, keep tuned, and thanks for watching. See you next time.